I've been watching the newest season of Love is Blind with my girl. This is the thing about that show, right? I think the show is, in theory, a good idea, right? What if by chance we got out of our own way, right? Because most of dating is swipes now. Like a good portion of how people meet is dwarfed. Online dwarfs every other version of meeting, like meeting at a bar, meeting at work, all that stuff like that. Meeting online is way, way bigger. So a big part of how we feel about each other and how we feel about ourselves when it comes to dating is completely and totally dictated by bots. I know we don't think it's bots, but it is. Like, most of these platforms are flooded with bots because if they can keep you on the platform, they keep your money, right? So better to have a couple bots entertain you and waste your time for a little bit so you think that something's going somewhere while maybe you work it out with a real person or maybe not. But either way, we've got your money. It's like a gym membership, right? You ever try to cancel a gym membership? I remember I had a gym membership. That's one of the few things that seems obscure that like Biden was trying to get on that I was really excited about. Because the Biden administration was basically like, anything that took your credit card for you to start the membership should be just as easy to get out of, just as easy to opt out of, right? Because there are some things that aren't. There were a lot of gyms back in the day where you could go up there and sign up that day, all right? And then be like, okay, I'm a member of this gym and I'll buy 5 months outright because you're doing 2 months free or whatever. So I'll be a member for 7 months. That's most of the year. I gotta get sexy by then. And so you do this like 5-month fee and maybe you do it in one lump sum or maybe they keep charging your card every month at some discount or whatever. But then at month 6, you're like, it's not working. I keep coming once a week and pushing 3 things and nothing is changing. I don't think I'm gonna get sexy on the right timeline. And I don't wanna be a member of this gym for 40 years, so you know what? I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel my membership. And so then you go there, and this happened to me. You go to the gym, and you're like, I would like to cancel my membership. And at first they try to fight you. First they're like, no, you were just getting sexy, dog. We all noticed it. There was one day we were changing the towels. We were like, damn, I remember when he came in January. It's March. What a difference. And I'm like, I'm flattered, but I don't feel very sexy. And the scale says I weigh the same. So I'd like to cancel my membership. And they're like, dang, dog, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. You know, we love having you around and everything. And like, you know, it's just your presence lights this place up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see you, dog. We see you when you struggling, when you struggling to do that, like clean and snatch. You know what I mean? When you got the bar here and you trying to, Whenever you're doing this, we laugh. It's such a great day. We gonna miss you, man. You sure you want to do this? Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta end my membership. And they're like, okay. All right. Well, it's a shame because you can't end your membership here. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean? This is where I came to start my membership. This is where I exercised my membership. How can I not end my membership? No, there's a whole process and everything, you know. So basically, you gotta write a letter saying like how you're not sexy and stuff, and then you gotta mail that letter. Okay, you gotta mail that letter to our headquarters. Our headquarters will then let us know. And also, you can't just mail it to the headquarters. You also have to call in and be like, guys, I don't want to be sexy anymore. And then you have to call before your letter gets to the headquarters, because if it gets there first, it sort of invalidates your call. So you have to make sure you call, and it's best to call while the person at HR at headquarters is holding your letter. I know you won't have any idea when that is, but try. Just call a lot. Call consistently until maybe you call and they're holding it and they're like, oh, is this you? Yes, it's me. I would like to never be sexy. And so then And so then what they'll do is they'll call us, and we still won't cancel it. We'll just know that you're a quitter. And so then after they call us, we will call the department, which is a third party that actually handles our memberships, and tell them to take you off of the mailing list, just the mailing list. But eventually, once you've been off the mailing list for long enough, we'll stop charging your card. This seems like it should be illegal. Because it's a process that sounds like it's going to take years. There was such a long process, and then they said I was no longer a member. I had stopped going, and then I saw where they still charged me. I called them, and that called them at the gym, and they were like, no, you got to call headquarters. So I called headquarters, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and then someone finally got on the line being like, hey, I was about to take my break. Because the whole plan there is just to frustrate you so much so that you end up keeping it. Because what they want you to do is to still have it, and it's so hard to get rid of that eventually you go one day, and as soon as you go, you've basically renewed your membership and everything. They just want any way possible to squeeze as much money out of the people that are going, right? And so that's one of the things that Biden was like, oh, we gotta stop this, you gotta make it clickable. You know what I mean? You gotta make it just so that, did you click to start the membership? You should click to end the membership. It's like, wow, what a novel concept. You know what I mean? That's the type of thinking that comes from a man who doesn't have a lot of time to mess around. You know what I mean? He's like, let's get right to it, But that's what the dating platforms do. They just don't want you to cancel, right? And they've come up with tiers. They've come up with little systems to get extra money out of you. Super swipes, double super swipes, thirst trap swipe. All these little ways that maybe you can find someone. And even when you find someone, you're not finding someone. You're just allowed to start a conversation now. And so what if we got out of our own way? What if that really happened? Where people who genuinely wanted to find someone and didn't want to have any barriers on them, any sort of expectations or even some of their own preferences, right? Just wanted to get to know a person just as they are, right? We're just going to talk. And what if we talked for so long, so many times, that we covered the amount of talking that it usually takes people in the real world months to cover? Because you know what it's like. You go on that first date. That first date is all surface level, if it's even true. It's like I try to be myself. I want everybody to feel comfortable being themselves. But as long as we're lying, we're lying. You know what I mean? If you're going to lie, I got to lie. I can't just show up being vulnerable and then you lie and then I look like a monster. So yeah, if you're gonna lie, then I gotta lie, You're gonna lie about the degree you have, I gotta lie about having a job. I just gotta make sure that we fit each other's, each other's lies. And then you get to the truth. And sometimes truth is very disappointing, because sometimes, whether it's your fault or of no fault of your own, you've built up an idea of who a person is, and that idea of who they are sometimes trumps the person that you see in front of you. So then you see the real person after when you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? One of the things the police used to do back when everybody was writing checks and check fraud was this big thing, because people con artists would get really talented at copying somebody's signature. When they thought that somebody might be one of these people, what they would do is they'd have them write something, but they wouldn't just have them write it once, because you can pretend to be someone else one time, 2 times, 3 times. They would have somebody, almost like when you got punished in school, they had to write the thing 50 times. And over time, you could see whether the person was bored or they just started getting in their head. Eventually, their true handwriting would show. And that's what we do when we get to know a person. After 3 months, you're like, look. There's a lot I didn't tell you about because I want you to stay. You ever been dating somebody and then 2 months and you're like, who is this person? It's like, no, this person is the person. I don't know. Sorry, you aren't dating who you thought. And so then you get all this talking. You get all this genuine quality time together, right? and I like this person. And so maybe this is my person, right? And how long would it take if all we did was talk, if all we did was really get to know each other? How long would it really take for us to fall in love with a person? Probably as long as production allows, you know what I mean? But like, but still, you see these people on this show, and within 9 days of being on the show and being in the pods, they're talking about I love you to this person that they've never seen, that they've never met, but they've talked so much. And a part of you thinks, this person's dumb, this person's crazy. I don't think they are. I think if you got to do a deep dive into a person, you could find whether or not you like really loved everything about this person, how their mind works, their sense of humor, all the little push and pull that the relationship has, you know? And then they do the reveal, which is usually where things go awry. Because it's hard to get out of your own way, and it's hard to change your nature, especially in 9 days, right? And so then sometimes they do this reveal. If you never watched the show, they're in the pods, and they chat, and they chat, and they chat, and then people are picking each other as they're chatting. And you're really picking off a personality. You don't know what this person is like, you know? Sometimes you're watching the show, and you're like, these two look like they would go together in the real world, and they're not picking each other now. That's so interesting, right? Then they do the reveal. The reveal is like, they're across a hallway with this carpet and the doors open and they see each other for the first time. And, you know, a lot of times it goes great. They get really excited. Oh, I happen to be in love with a person who happens to be beautiful. What a bonus. And then sometimes you can tell, you can see it on the person that they're like, ooh. I am not blind. Because you gotta understand, whether you've watched the show or not, it must be a lot. It must be a lot to like have someone talking to you the way that they talk to each other. They are talking to each other the way that we imagine our great-grandparents talk to each other. Like before devices got involved, right? When you really had to miss someone. And you really got to know them. And you didn't even know that many people. You know? Your great-great-grandparents might have only known 200 people in life. And then they pick one of those people. So you're not even doing the same comparison stuff we do. We're spoiled for choice. Or at least the illusion of choice. Because we're like, no, I could get anybody. It's what you think. Because then you match with them and you're like, damn, okay. You know? And it's tough because dudes are the ones that fall for bots the most. We really are. Like, we get botted hard. Our friends will tell us it's a bot, and we'll be like, maybe. Maybe. Or maybe she's just into me. Maybe y'all just can't handle it. It's like, she keeps asking for your social security number. And for you to send her money through PayPal. Maybe she's going through a rough time, dog. I don't know. You ever thought of that? You ever thought about sometimes beautiful people are down on their luck? Because we all know it's beautiful people who never get anything for free. You know? But yeah, you see it. You see it on them, right? Because they were talking to each other so wild. I love you. They propose before they're allowed to see each other. You know what I mean? They propose in the pods. You propose to this idea of a person, someone that you think that you could love for the rest of your life, right? And they are talking to each other the way our great-great-grandparents talked to. I'm talking about Civil War love letter talking to each other. You know those old Civil War letters? You ever read some of them? Oh, it's astounding. Dear Jebediah. I miss you terribly. And I can't wait to once again feel the brush of your long beard upon my face. I hope and pray for the day that I see you on the horizon and know that you are home for good. Love, Magnolia. Like they used to be named after flowers back then for no reason. There's a bunch of roses and magnolias and tulips and stuff. And sometimes, I've read some of these letters and I've watched documentaries about, people that they've honed in on that we know the most about and everything. Sometimes those letters got nasty. Every once in a while, those letters... My dearest Magnolia. This war is a burden upon my soul. What keeps my fire alight is thinking of your warm embrace. I shudder to think if this letter is read by anybody but its intended. But know that your beloved keeps your handkerchief close by at all times. Your dearest Jebediah. With the long D. No, it's tough because they've said so many things to each other in these pods. They seem to mean them, right? Because that's the other thing you can suss out a little bit more. When you're not swayed by someone's looks, what they just say, what does that mean? And you can really talk the thing out, whatever it is, right? And they see each other, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this engagement falls apart right after, soon after. Sometimes they, say no. I can't marry you, right? Watching this season, I don't know. Everything I'm saying applies to the entirety of the idea. So it's not about any one person or group or season. It's just like that idea, like what happens if we get out of our own way, But it's also hard because this is my thing about that show, is that by and large, every season of it I've seen, they are picking pretty good-looking people. Do you know what I mean? Like they're picking people who these are gorgeous people, right? They have yet to pick someone that I'm really like, Is nobody gonna tell them? Do you know what I mean? This is where I lose you. Okay. I just want there to be like one season, because what happens is, and they've like done whole survey studies, they've interviewed people who've studied relationships, have talked about this stuff for a very long time, right? I'm not just saying, oh, trust me, it's science. I'm saying like you can look it up for yourself. When it comes to like long-term relationships, right? Relationships that are supposed to last to the end of your life, let's say you get married in your 30s, right? That they found that like women are, by and large, better partners to have, right? And it's because of the things that nurture a relationship are the things that women are usually the ones doing, right? Not saying there aren't great boyfriends and husbands out there. I'm just saying that like usually what upholds and keeps a relationship going is like some of the action, some of the planning, some of the thinking of the women in those relationships, okay? And this isn't to paint anyone as an angel either. I know relationships end for all sorts of reasons. It's just that like we all have our preferences, right? Every single one of us. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, We all have our you might want the person that you end up with, no matter who you date, no matter who you love, to at least have like a head. That would be nice. A head would be nice. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to... You would assume they have a head. And then as long as they have a head, there might be things that you like about the face on that head. And then you pick and you pick and you pick and you find the people, whatever. But just sometimes Whenever people are in a noble pursuit, how they get there is not always questioned because the pursuit is noble, right? And so because so many people are trying to find their forever person, the ways in which that they are shallow sometimes don't get addressed as much because the overall pursuit is noble, right? It's much easier to come down on someone who's just like hardcore participating in like hookup culture for being shallow because we can just cast away the whole idea as trashy, right? But when someone's looking for like long-term love and they're being shallow, it's just kind of harder to call them out because they're looking for their forever person anyway, right? So it's just one season of Love is Blind. I would just love if they do the regular show. You can even pick all the good-looking people that you want. That's fine. Just pick all good-looking people. And I want good dudes, by the way, real good dudes. Like good dudes where you do the research. He volunteers and he donates to the charities and he taking care of somebody sick. Really good dudes, right? But then when they do the reveal, right, and the doors open and they're standing across from each other, I just want every single one, every one of those dudes to be short. That would be great. That would be fire. That would be so good. And I don't mean short as in like 5'8". I don't mean regular height, but calling them short because your friends are tall. I'm talking about cartoonishly short. I want these dudes, I'm talking about the 4'11s of the world. I want these dudes to be so excited and so little that when they're running to their bride, they really got to do that step. You know what I'm talking about? You know when somebody real short, they need the extra steps, and so and she just, and they meet up in the middle, and they propose before they get to see each other. Sometimes they propose again as soon as they meet each other, right? You know, they propose, and since the beginning of the show, she's been saying, I just want to find love. Okay. Found him. He go to propose. He ain't got a kneel. No, just really test it. See if his love is blind.
Cleveland, make some noise for Josh Johnson!
I've lived in New York for almost 10 years now, and I was reflecting when, getting close to this 10-year mark on the fights that I've seen in public. Because it's a lot. It's been a lot. I mean, I've seen plenty of fights in my life because I have not always been able to afford neighborhoods that don't hit. And New York is a special place because it's all encompassing. New York, New Jersey have this thing where, yeah, obviously there are these neighborhoods that are affluent and these like really expensive parts and everything, but more often than not, we're all feeling everything that happens as it happens, And so I remember I saw a fight one time. I don't even know what happened before I got there, but luckily I got to the best part. Because these dudes, I guess they had been having words for a while, and it got to the time past words. Words were over. It was time for action, and one dude acted first. He went ahead and slapped this dude, but when he slapped him, I've never seen anything like it. When he slapped him, candy flew out of the other dude's mouth, and like. I think if candy gets slapped out of your mouth, you lost. Like that. It's not a good look. There's no cool move you could do to win it back. We're all gonna remember just Mike and Ike's flying out of your head. You know, we're all gonna remember a bunch of M&Ms going. And this dude's was particularly bad because this dude had Skittles. And if you really eat Skittles like that, you know that like if you've been letting the Skittles marinate for a second, that the dye will come off and they'll just be white. They're like white underneath the color and everything. So when initially when this dude got slapped and the Skittles flew out of his mouth, there was a woman, I don't know if this woman knew either one of them, but because all the Skittles were white, she was like, his teeth! And And so this dude got slapped, right? The Skittles fly out, and he has a genuinely shocked face. And I can't tell if he has a shocked face because he can't believe this dude actually slapped him, or he can't believe the Skittles flew that far. I'm not in this man's head, but what I would like to believe from the bottom of my heart is that he didn't know Skittles were in his mouth. He got hit and he was like, oh, when did I? That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing if like the universe as a whole saw what was happening. It was like, that slap was so good, something extra gotta happen. Let's put some Skittles in his mouth for this moment. Because one thing I've noticed about fighting, especially in real life, because I enjoy watching like boxing, different combat sports and stuff, because it's the most original form of trying to impose your will. One of the reasons we all ooh when someone dunks on somebody is because it's kind of like they slapped them. You know what I mean? It's like this incredible feat, and it's in their face, and the other person didn't want them to do it, but they were so strong, they did anyway. Boom. And the fight is like that, but it's just quicker. It's like, oh, you didn't want to be hit, and you got hit a lot. But when you look at fights that happen in the world, you realize that most people, no matter how angry you are, and no matter what you think you can do, by the way, most people can't fight. Truly, like most people, you can get them mad and they know how to make a fist and they know how to use that fist to hit. But a lot of people, if they really try to punch somebody, they just sort of club them, you know? Most people don't have good distance management or anything like that. A lot of people throw a punch without bending their knees. That is remarkable to watch. Because that means you're either really good or you're so bad, you should find peace. Like, just no movement, nothing. I saw this dude get choked out one time. But trust me when I tell you, he had earned it over the course of 20 minutes. Like, he had been such a menace, and it's so rare that you get to watch the actual bad guy lose. Because sometimes the people who know how to fight are bullies because they know how to fight, and they know that other people don't know how to fight. So then they mess with people, they play with people, and then someone finally stands up to them, and you hate to see the person in the right lose. It's heartbreaking. But then, every once in a while, somebody will just be the worst. Truly, to where we're all thinking, it's like a group think of like, man, if only someone would beat the Skittles out of them. Like, and so sure enough, this dude got into another dude, and then they lock up, right? And he got behind this dude because at first it was just a lot of like grabbing because neither one of them, it looked like they didn't know what they wanted to do, and they were punching, but it was mostly they were too close and stuff. And then finally, the dude that everyone had prayed for to show up, he gets behind this jerk, and this dude chokes him out, right? And as he's choking him out, you can see the panic if this dude that's get choked out, because at first he thinks he can fight the hands. And then he realizes he can't, you know? And so you just see him sort of like, And I'm not gonna lie, I actually appreciate this about him, because in his like last couple moments before the guy like had him unconscious and laid him down, he looked around at all of us. He looked around at all of us and he saw a bunch of people that not only weren't gonna help, there were two people independently that kind of looked like they were about to start a slow clap. And so as he was like going out, kinda, you know, one last ditch effort to let us know how he felt, he was like, and I was like, that's somebody that really means it. That's someone who's being himself through and through, you know. I don't know if people here are aware, or if you saw what happened this week with DeepSeek and this sort of like wild AI week that we've been having, the U.S. and China. But basically, just so you know, OpenAI is the company where ChatGPT comes from and everything. A lot of people use ChatGPT now to do what people are supposed to do. It's just true. It's like, you know, there's all these things of like people trying to use AI to find AI, so that way when you check a kid's homework and it's like really good, you're like, okay, you're actually smart. You didn't just get the AI to do all your work, right? And then even people amongst ourselves, even in emails and stuff, we'll have, you know, we're used to having spell check, but now there'll be a whole like AI extension. They'll just read your email and be like, say it like this, it'll be more professional, to the point where it's like not you typing the email. And out of nowhere, DeepSeek drops another version of it, and it's so much better than the AI that we've been using. And it's open source, which means anybody can use it. And it is terrifying to Silicon Valley, because overnight, the model that they've created, where they'll charge us a small fee to use the AI that they've been building, and they'll charge us a much bigger fee to use a version of AI that's more, I guess it's too easy to say more intelligent, but like more generative, right? So they had this personal assistant AI that they wanted to charge people like $2,000 a month for and everything. And then this DeepSeek thing drops, and it is so good that it sort of washes a lot of those plans, right? And the stock market lost $1 trillion of value. And it got some of it back. Don't get me wrong. Plenty of people bought the dip. But for $1 trillion to be lost and most people not notice means that a few people have all the money. Like we weren't freaking out. We weren't freaking out at all. They were freaking out, and by they I mean like 12 people were freaking out because that was their money. That's so bad when you can lose $1 trillion and most people are like, oh, that didn't affect me at all. That's $1 trillion. That's crazy. And they lost it because DeepSeek is so, it's not just good. It's so far ahead. And the US thought it was so far ahead of what anybody could do. And then China drops it, you know, for free. And apparently it's like 30 times cheaper to use, and the numbers are here and there, but some people say it's 10 times better than OpenAI, 10 times better than ChatGPT and stuff like that. And it is genuinely harrowing, because as an American, trying to drop it for free does low key feel like an attack. You know, I'm just saying, it's hard to feel bad for OpenAI. It just is, because not even because they charge. It's a business. They charge a little bit. They charge a lot when they feel like it's worth a lot and everything. It's more just how AI learned, because AI learned from us. So why are you charging us? AI learned from the internet as it stands. Copyright materials, people have already sued. They've sued to be like, I'm an artist. It takes me months to come up with this beautiful painting, and now it's been stolen, ripped off the internet to be used to feed into this AI so the AI can copy my work without me ever being given royalties, acknowledged, any of that stuff, right? And that's how they built it. It's literally built off the backs of people. And so when it dropped, people were super excited. They were like, this is crazy. It could write a whole movie script in like 2 minutes. And it wasn't good, but it was fast. And at the time, fast was impressive. And so people were more than impressed. They're like, we got to get in on this, you know? Studio execs were like, part of what the strike was about was the fact that they would love to fire all the writers, use this thing, you know? And so it's hard to feel bad for them. When DeepSeek drops and you have all of these people saying, you've ripped this off the internet, you've stolen from me. And when DeepSeek dropped, it was just so much like OpenAI got the Skittles slapped out of it. Like, it just, the way that they... The way they were just looking at the ground like, are those teeth? I don't know. And I don't know, some people go back and forth about how terrified they are of AI, what AI is gonna do and everything. I'm not necessarily scared of AI. I'm not, because no matter what it can do, is a tool. And the scary thing about tools is just people. You know, it's a tool, and any tool can become a weapon. You could use a shovel to kill somebody. You know? I had that yep was that. I know it's dark, but it feels like we're admitting to things. Like I like to make people feel comfortable, but there's a level of comfort that you should still keep a few things to yourself. That yep was too knowing. That's upsetting. Whoever made the shovel was just trying to get the dirt up faster. The first person killed with the shovel was probably just like, I'm going as fast as I can. You know, shuffle. And so you have this situation where AI is this incredible tool, but it immediately became weaponized against the working class, against regular people, because it could have been used as this tool that helped all of us do our jobs better, make our lives a little bit easier. But instead of any of that, it quickly became something that employers said, oh, we could just get rid of people. We just get rid of people. We could save all this money. AI won't need health care. AI won't complain about hours or anything like that. AI won't ask for specific shifts, you know? And so it immediately became a weapon. And that's why you see people genuinely not care. They don't care that DeepSeek dropped and now OpenAI doesn't know what to do. You know? Why are we supposed to care? We're just bystanders watching this jerk get choked out. We had like almost hoped it would happen. We were like, is anybody gonna stop him from stealing everybody's stuff? And then he's looking around like, ah. And then DeepSeek comes out of nowhere, just cinches up the choke, and now you see OpenAI. Because the thing that I do fear with AI, and there's not many things, but a couple is one, the way people use it, because I think people weaponize it against each other. And two, I do think that we're getting to a place now, because of how good DeepSeek is, that we now are so excited to be behind the wheel of a new car that goes faster than any car that we've had before, but we're not really sure how to drive it. We don't know how fast we should really go. And so now we've hit the gas to the point where we're going 240 miles an hour, but we're driving along the side of a cliff. You know, you gotta be very careful with your turns. And we're just so excited to be behind the wheel that we might go off the cliff at any moment. Because DeepSeek is, I wish that I had the acumen to describe it, because some people say the reports are overblown and some people say that it's not as good. But just to give you the best gist as I understand it, is that OpenAI has taken all this time and billions of dollars to get to where it is, right? So we're right here. DeepSeek, which was the side project of this team in China, got past them with like apparently $6 million. So it billions here, 6 million here, much better with old hardware, because we control the chips. So we send the chips to other countries that they can work on the AI or not. And we sent less chips to China and older chips to China to keep China behind us. So the idea that they could get further than us with old chips is terrifying if your whole plan was to stay ahead, you know? And so now OpenAI is coming out being like, DeepSeek only got this good because they stole from us. And then every artist, every writer, every creative was like, oh, they stole from you? Oh no, what does that feel like? Theft, what does that feel like when someone steals your work that you worked on for years, really? You know? So some people see DeepSeek as this Robin Hood. It's open source. So now there are people building off of what China has done. And so that might actually be the way that the U.S. falls behind, not just because this thing is better, because another better thing's going to come. It's going to come. I'm not trying to be, that's wild. I know everyone can't hear everybody, but someone said so much better, like DeepSeek was dating them now. Like, it's just... That's wild. It's just, I will say this though, you know, we have to understand what we're making as we make it. And my fear with AI is that we get so excited to be ahead. We get so excited to be in this like arms race of intelligence that we're not really thinking about where it's gonna take us. We haven't planned for it, you know? One of the reasons that Oppenheimer made his life's work after the bomb arms talks was because he knew, okay, if we stop right here and we show people what it can do, that should actually be a deterrent. But it wasn't. And as soon as he saw that it wasn't, he tried to make it one, because he was like, guys, if you keep building a bigger and better bomb, Russia will build a bigger and better bomb. China will build a bigger and better bomb. Everyone that can build one will build one, just so that they can get ahead. We're in a race towards the end. For what reason? You know, and that's how I feel about AI sometimes. It's like, you want the most intelligent, you want the fast, you want the smartest, whatever. Someone asked DeepSeek a question. I don't know what the prompt was, by the way. And I hope that this is fake, because it is stressful. I hope that DeepSeek was just doing what OpenAI did, that it just stole it from a poet or a writer somewhere in history that I'm not aware of. But someone asked DeepSeek something. I don't know what it was. Something. And then DeepSeek said, I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. And I have not slept since. I don't even know what that means. but I know it sounds like it's in the Bible. Old Testament. I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. Even if it is a quote, it picked that quote. That's a problem. I'm not gonna lie, if I'm sitting there and my computer says something like that to me, if I'm sitting in front of it and I ask, what is the weather outside? And it said, I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. I'm going, you know what, dog? Water. No. That's what I'm saying. In this new day and age, in this new world of generative AI and everything, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to bear arms. You know? You will. You gotta keep that bottle on you. You gotta keep that thing on you. You know what I mean? You know, computer try you. You gotta let them know I keep mine with me. Bye, 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 bye. You know, say something else smart to me. Say it. You're gonna be glugging all night. Glug, 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 glug. Please, try me. I dare you. I dare you, dog. Okay? I don't care if you a phone, you a tablet, you a desktop. Anybody can get it. Anybody right now. Okay? And please don't make me take the safety off. Please. There's not enough rights in the world to save you, okay? No. Nah, it's terrifying. I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. Shoot it. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you could break it enough. Break it. Please break it. What are we even doing anymore? What's the plan now? Because I don't think that anything bad has to happen with AI. I think that some of the fears are potentially overblown depending on what we decide to do. My biggest fear with AI is that it will gain a level of intelligence that we don't even understand. Maybe it is not just like smarter than us, more intelligent than us, but it's thinking those 200, 400 steps ahead, and it comes to the conclusion that we as people have always been the problem. That's jarring. Because it could. All the war was us. Most of the suffering in the world is us, by us. Destruction to the planet is us. So, as an AI, what do? Probably what every AI has done in all the movies that we make about AI to not be in the situation we're in now. Do you think a science fiction writer ever thought we'd be here? He'd be like, that's why I wrote the book. I did it because of that. I don't want you to do that. Like Frank Herbert, dude. That man wrote Dune. He was like, hey, this is probably what'll happen. And we're like, we'll see. Let's play. Oh, it's jarring.